Have you ever been asked a question that the answer is so obvious that you wonder why the question is even asked? Questions like, would you like another scoop of ice cream? Would you like to be upgraded to first class? Yes, and absolutely. When I proposed to my wife 34 years ago, in my way of thinking, there seemed to be only one right and obvious answer. Now, my brother spoke wisdom to me, and so I provided two options for my then girlfriend Cindy to choose from. After months of careful planning, the engagement day came. My brother blindfolded Cindy and took her to the local airfield where a friend sat ready with a single-engine Cessna idling on the tarmac. Once loaded, the blindfold was removed and the plane took off for a destination unknown. After a scenic view of the rural hills and farmland just to the northeast of Portland, Oregon, the designated airstrip on grass was located and the plane made a smooth landing, idled up to this idyllic pond with innocent white swans that were watching the events that were about to take place. After a snack of fresh strawberries, crackers, and chocolate, Cindy was then reloaded into the airplane, took off, but then they returned and buzzed the airstrip where a 100-foot banner was rolled out with a magical question: will you marry me? Now, in my mind, this is one of those questions with only one obvious right answer. However, Cindy had been provided the two poster boards under her seat to choose from. As the pilot brought the airplane around again, I was overjoyed to see that she had chosen the sign that read yes and was holding it up in the window to my delight and the approval of the white swans. Cindy had not even considered the other poster board under her seat. As you likely guessed, that other sign read absolutely. Now, in the book of John, Jesus asked a question that would seem to have only one right and obvious good answer. To set the stage, Jesus was walking through Jerusalem on a Sabbath afternoon and came upon a pool of Bethesda. Surrounding the pool are a great number of disabled people who would lie by the pool waiting for the waters to be stirred by the wings of an angel and bring healing to the first person that was able to be cleansed in the water. As he made his way through the countless individuals in need of healing, Jesus spoke to an invalid who had suffered there for over 38 years. As recorded in John 5:6, Jesus approaches the man and asks the question, "Do you want to be whole?" Again, a question with seemingly only one right and obvious answer. Of course, Jesus, I want to be whole. I want to be healed. I want to be able to stand and dance and live a whole life for the first time in over 38 years. Yes, absolutely. While the answer seems so obvious and clear, too often we do not live a whole life, but rather we live a divided life. The divided life is a wounded life, and the soul keeps calling us to heal that wound. All were created with souls in perfect form. But from the moment of birth onward, the soul is assailed by these deforming forces, by racism and sexism and economic injustice and other social cancers. Inwardly, we are assailed by jealousy and resentment and self-doubt, fear, and other demons of that inner life. The truth is that sin is holistic also, in that it affects us physically, mentally, and separates us from the spiritual. We pay a steep price when we choose to live a divided life, and there can be no greater suffering than living a lifelong lie and living that divided life. Rosa Parks sat down on that bus seat in Montgomery, Alabama, because she had reached a point where she could live divided no more. By remaining in her seat, knowing the consequences that would follow, she had to live her truth. She decided, quote, "I will no longer act on the outside in a way that contradicts the truth that I hold on the inside. I will no longer act as if I am less than the whole person I know inwardly to be," end quote. Authentic wholeness is where we live from the inside out. Where the true self is violated, our soul will resist until we live its truth. We are called to wholeness by that still small voice that exists within each of us. We were created in the image of God. That represents what our true self seeks to return to. We are called to live a holistic life in a world that wants to divide us. So we return to that question that Jesus asked years ago that seems to have such an obvious answer. Do you want to be whole? To that question, I prayerfully answer, yes, absolutely.